Thanks very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, you and I have been friends for all of my now going on 19 years in Congress. Value that friendship, and I'm very appreciative of your service to our country and your commitment to our country. Gentlemen, both of you have in previous statements as well as in your comments today used the term terrorist attack, deliberate attack, pre-coordinated attack, as well as other adjectives to describe this incident. Mr. Secretary, you have been a leader in the intelligence community, of course being at CIA. So you've been on both sides of the issue of providing intelligence as well as receiving intelligence. Would you consider this incident to be an intelligence failure?
I think that some of the initial assessments that were made, they should have taken more time to assess the full situation as to what had taken place. Look, in intelligence, like everything else, I mean, you make some initial assessments, and then you go back and you look at it and look at it again, get more information, build a picture of what took place, and then based on that, hopefully provide a much more accurate picture of what had taken place. I think some of the initial assessments here were not on the money.
General Dempsey, how would you respond as to whether or not this was an intelligence failure?
You know, Senator, we get asked that question a lot, actually, after anything happens. This one I actually think of more as an intelligence gap. I think there is an impression, there's two impressions that have kind of worked against us over time. One is that we can be as responsive as necessary. That's not always the case. There are some issues of time and distance and basing rights and overflight rights that actually affect us in our ability to be responsive. And the second one is that we're kind of all-seeing and all-knowing. And there's some places on the planet where we have some gaps, and I think North Africa is probably one of them.
Well, to both of you, if you had had intelligence that there was a storm brewing among this group of individuals, however we characterize them, with respect to an attack at some point in time on that facility in Benghazi, obviously you'd been prepared for it. Is that a fair statement?
No, there's no question. And the example of that is, we've had a number of other embassies that have faced, like Khartoum, that we thought there was a real threat to Khartoum. We had advanced intelligence that that was the case, and we were prepared to move people out. As a matter of fact, the embassy took steps to move some people out, and we've done that there. We've done that in several other areas where we get that kind of advance notice, we can respond.
Yeah. You're familiar with the timeline that's on that chart over there, and suffice it to say that there were attacks on the embassy, on the compound beginning in March of 2012. There were a series of other attacks on Western assets, both U.S., Red Cross, UK. Was the President aware of that timeline of all of those incidents that occurred?
I'm not sure.
Were each of you aware of each of those incidents that had occurred?
Yeah, we were. Every week, General Ham sends a report to the Secretary of Defense on events in his area of responsibility, and he copies me. And he had been tracking the security situation in Libya.
And would that report not go to the President?
No, not routinely.
Would you not have discussions with the President about hotspots around the world and what was going on?
No, we do. And I can tell
do you know of any other place in the world, General Dempsey, where this number of attacks had occurred over this period of time?
I do, actually, Senator. This was not a unique situation. Look, in looking back at it, of course, it looks like it should have been crystal clear that there was an attack imminent.
Where else outside of Afghanistan, outside of Iraq, have we had weapons fired on a compound, where we had a UK armored vehicle attack, where we had a bomb thrown over the compound wall, where we had a UN special envoy attack, where we had RPG attacks, and so forth and so on? Where outside of Afghanistan would that have happened?
Well, Yemen, notably. We've had a great deal of challenges in Yemen.
We had that at our embassy at Yemen?
And a consistent threat stream against the ambassador personally.
Yeah. So what response have you made in Yemen?
At the request of the embassy, we've got a fleet anti-terrorism support team there to thicken their defenses, and we've also got aircraft located in a nearby country that can respond in extremis.
So that's the second time you've used the phrase, the State Department didn't request, or in this instance in Yemen, apparently the State Department did request. General Dempsey, I take that as a very weak response and reaction to this incident. You are the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. You knew what was happening in Benghazi. You failed to respond in a way that provided security to that particular United States mission complex, when apparently you did respond in a positive way in Yemen, you say. Am I correct in that?
Well, you're incorrect in saying I failed to respond to a request. Look, what we do is, in collaboration with our agency partners, is we try to distribute our resources.
General,
I don't distribute them personally.
You said earlier in response to Senator McCain that you were aware of the August cable from Ambassador Stevens in which he said security at Benghazi is not adequate. Am I correct?
I was aware of Senator, yes, of course I was aware of it because it came in General Ham's report. Yeah. General Ham actually called the embassy to see if they wanted to extend the special security team there, and was told no.
Well, why was that the case, and who was it that said we do not need additional security at Benghazi to General Ham?
I don't know where that decision was eventually made, but it's in the Accountability Review Board result.
Yeah. Well, my time is up, but your responses, General Dempsey, are very inadequate, and in my opinion, the same kind of inadequacy for the security that you provided at that consulate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.